welcome into another edition of American Hammers Radio. This is Tex of the Fresno Irons, your host, with the one and only, the curly-headed legend himself, Zach from DC. Zach, how are you this fine Tuesday evening?
It's finally starting to feel like winter around here, so that's always a lovely feeling. But it's even better when you get a win on Saturday against Chelski, nonetheless.
It was a huge win for West Ham United. I'm going to say this real quick. Winter for you is a lot different than winter for me, so I definitely respect it when you say it's starting to feel like winter, which means it probably was feeling like winter 2 months ago if I was living where you were living. So real quick, though, massive win for the boys on Saturday against the far-hated West London fucks themselves, the Chelsea Blues. West Ham take it 1-0 by a beautiful move from Aaron Cresswell. He did the equivalent to what I would call a crossover as he put it on his right foot and sent it in. It was a gorgeous goal, a beautiful team goal as well. A couple of really nice passes to get it to that point. And also, Zach, Roberto was dropped and Martin was in goal. Oh my, what a move by Pellegrini, and wouldn't you know it, we win 1-0. There was also some other big changes in that match there, Zach. We saw Sebastian Haller, the club record signing, the man we thought was going to change everything, get dropped for, according to Slaven Bilic, a right back that got thrown up at the very top in Mikel Antonio. And wouldn't you know it, Mikel Antonio and his ability to play up top makes the difference. He caused a lot of problems, drew a lot of attention, and definitely was a pest inside the box. He didn't get the goal that I think he was seeking, but he did look good. So what are your thoughts on that game?
Well, putting Antonio up front just shows how versatile he is. One week he can be playing right back. The next he can be playing right mid. The next he's the starting striker. But that just shows what a guy is. When he's healthy, he's one of the best in the world. But the problem is when he's healthy, and I'll get into that later. But this team that we put forward, dropping Roberto, we've been calling for that for a while now, and the fact that he finally did it shows that he realized that his ass was very close to the fire, and if he didn't get a win, he was going to be gone. And so the fact that he realized, oh shit, I need to do something, shows that he's maybe he isn't losing it. Maybe he did have come to a sudden realization of great truth. Epiphany, that's it. Sorry, I'm trying to think of the old woman in the Simpsons movie. But he had an epiphany that he can't be starting Roberto, and Roberto is gone. The board has already said that he's gone in January, which is about damn time. It's about like 3 weeks too late probably, but he should have been gone. Well, he should have not been starting. The fact that we had to go to a guy who's playing his first Premier League game ever, and he comes in and with butterflies all in his stomach, and he leaves crying with a 1-0 win. You can't write that. You cannot write that. He's going to be telling his grandkids that. But this happened, and it's going to be one of those things that there's going to be a Premier League. The Premier League's going to get its own TV channel, and it's going to be like Premier League snippets, and that's going to be one of the snippets that they talk about. What if I told you, like the NHL ads? It was amazing. But we played a hell of a lot better, even though we took a lot more shots. We didn't offensively beat them, but we did sustain enough defensive pressure on them. We got balls cleared. We beat them to the punch, and we never let them – they try to set up stuff, and we just didn't let them. I love it. I loved it.
You're right. It was an absolutely beautiful moment for David Martin. Obviously, his father, West Ham legend Alvin Martin. Absolutely beautiful moment that they had there at the end. They got to embrace in a hug. It lets you know, like that moment for me lets you know what this being a West Ham supporter is all about. This thing runs deep. It runs in people's bloods. His dad was West Ham, and he's always supported the club and even played for Millwall for a short time. And obviously he gets there, and you see how big that moment is, not only for him, but for his own father who bleeds claret and blue. It is an awesome moment. It really, truly was. And I agree with you. And I'm not going to get on here and tell you guys, like, I'm smart enough to know David Martin wasn't the difference. It was a fact that I think Pellegrini Pellegrini is a very stubborn man. We can tell. You look at his haircut today, and you look at pictures of him back, in 1931, and his haircut was the exact same. So he's a very stubborn man, and we understand he doesn't like to change things, but he did some things that I liked. I think he set up the team beautifully to play against Chelski. I think that Chelski definitely they tested us a few times in the back, but when you have a competent keeper that knows how to play his craft and isn't a wild card back there, you make it tough on them to score goals. Now, did they have their opportunity to score goals? Yeah, they had two clear-cut shots that were dead to rights that they could have buried. One of them they sent right at the keeper. The other one they skied over the bar. So, but that's what you do. You make them work for every goal they're going to get instead of handing them goals like we were doing under Roberto and just shipping everything that came into the box into the back of our own net. We did a phenomenal job there of making Chelski work. And when we made them work, we were able to find flaws and we were able to stop shots. And that was huge for us. And I loved Antonio. I liked the move. I liked the substitutions that he had in this game. The substitutions were phenomenal. I really liked bringing on Arthur Masuaku as late as he did. Bringing Aller in when he did. But even when Aller came in, he still looks a little lost out there trying to do too much. I want Aller to be more selfish. I want him to be more Cristiano Ronaldo. I want it to bother him when another player on our team scores a goal because I want him to be the guy that wants to score every goal because that's how you have to be as a striker. It was a beautiful moment. But I've got to ask you this, Zach, and this is really what I want to get at is, do you think that David Martin was the sole reason that we were where we were, or do you think there was definitely more going on there besides David Martin?
Well, he was a large part of it, yes. He played a hell of a lot better than Roberto has in all the games he's played for us. And Martin just stood on his head. You teachers have the old saying, do I have to stand on my head to make you kids learn this? Well, he stood on his head and still blocked shots. I mean, there's not much more you can ask for from a Premier League keeper than what he did. He played with vim. He played with vim. Vim's not old. By the way, look up vim. Vim is a very old-timey word. It's a 10-cent word. But he played with enough vim that I think that anyone who watched the Premier League for the first time would have told you that how is this guy not an everyday starter? Honestly, he just played that well compared to what we've been watching. But he had a lot to do with it. Also, Antonio on the front end, he had a fantastic game. The whole team had a fantastic game, and it starts in the back and goes to the front. And whatever the hell was said in the locker room, I want that said again, and louder, and painted on every single dressing room stall.
I agree. I don't know if David Martin was a massive piece of it. I think it was a multitude of things. I think David Martin definitely was a part of it. I don't know if I'm willing to call him a massive one. And I'm not trying to be a David Martin hater. Do not take it that way. That's not what I'm saying. I just think that Pellegrini felt the heat, and I think he knew he had to make drastic changes, and he did. And that leads me into this question is that team that he put out that beats Chelski 1-0 at Stamford Bridge. Let's not gloss over how massive that win is for West Ham United. That's beating Chelski in their house. The next time we see them, they have to come to us. So it's a massive, massive win, especially with a team that's struggling to find any substance on the field with their team and any way to even muster any points. To get 3 away against the top 6 side, that's massive. Huge win for the boys. But I got to ask you this right now. That team that he put out, do you like that team, Zach? Is that a team you'd like to see continue?
Yes, I would like to see that team continue. I'd like to see them play against another top 6 team. I know we got Arsenal coming up on Monday. We got Wolves tomorrow. I think it would be a great thing to see him go out. However, Antonio, according to X, Antonio has picked up an injury knock and he's going into for a muscle strain, and he's going to have a late fitness test to see if he can play. And that's problematic to me because he continues to get injured, and it's not good because he was fantastic last game. I mean, hell, if I could clone him, I would. If human cloning was legal, he would be the first person and only person I would clone, really.
I can think of a few more people I'd rather clone. No offense, Zach. But I'm just going to tell you, I liked that team. I liked it. I think it suits our style. It suits the talent level that we have. I don't know if that's the team I would like to see going forward. I would love to find a way to have Antonio and Allaire be able to coexist up top.
Well, with Pellegrini being stingent on one attacking player, I'd rather put Antonio knows the guys well enough. Allaire's, again, we've talked about this. Allaire needs at least another body up there. And putting Allaire on top and Antonio behind him, that would be beautiful. I would be screaming. I'd be jumping up and down. My cereal would go all over the place as I'm watching West Ham in the mornings. And I would just love it. But it's with Pellegrini needs to have – he needs another epiphany to figure out that that's what needs to happen for West Ham to be top six. And it may happen today. It may happen five weeks from now. We don't know yet.
Speaking of epiphanies, that brings me into this question. Does this change anything for Pellegrini? We were all ready to axe him after the Tottenham loss. I think everybody was ready. And we saw the fixture list coming up, and we're all nervous, like, where are we going to find points? Obviously, we get that win against Chelsea. But I'm going to ask you right now, does the win at the Bridge, West Ham 1-0 with Aaron Cresswell's goal, change the mentality enough of the board and the people that call the shots that Pellegrini is safe? Does it change anything?
I think it does. I think it gives him more time. He's backed away from the fire just enough to give him at least until the end of the year. And he has two big games coming against Wolves and Arsenal. And if he can walk away with 3 points there, I think the board would be thrilled. And then we go into Southampton. If we could beat Southampton, then boom, we got 9 points going into Christmas break right before Boxing Day. Hell, you can't write that.
So I'm gonna tell you, fuck no, it doesn't change shit. It doesn't change a goddamn thing. Pellegrini, to me, he's still on the outs right now. Just because you won a London derby where the players can get up, you got guys like Mark Noble, that's a big game. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and you're going to tell me an emotional win is going to save this guy's job. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm still on the Pellegrini out train because here's what I'm looking at, Zach. I'm looking at trends. I'm looking at the way that things have gone. And just because you find a way to get a win against against Chelsea, which is a massive win, I don't want to take anything away from it, but it doesn't excuse what you've fucking done the last 6 weeks. It doesn't excuse that. Now, if he wants me to change my tune, you go beat Wolves, you beat Arsenal, especially in the state that they're in. Are you fucking kidding me? You go win that goddamn game. They fired Emery, which I could have told you was never going to work in the first place because the guy has no backbone. When he was at PSG, he couldn't stand up to fucking Neymar. So no offense, I knew he wasn't going to make it. And then, yes, you go beat Southampton. So you win the next 4, including Chelsea. You give me 3 more wins and you have 12 points in 4 games. Then I might feel differently about it. Because to me, all 3 of these next games, Zach, we have a better team than. We have a more talented side than Wolves. We are definitely more talented than Arsenal because I will never, ever admit that Arsenal's talented except for Aubameyang. He's the truth. I will give him that. And then you go beat Southampton. But the truth is, like, Zach, fuck no, it doesn't change shit. It can't. Like, you can't tell me one win. I am not going to be the typical West Ham fan and sit there and live and die on every moment. I'm going to be a chess player here, and I'm going to think 3 moves ahead. And I'm going to tell you right now that we are not in any position to sit there and say Pellegrini saved his job. I do agree with you that he's bought himself more time, but I'm still not ready to say he's our manager of the future.
Well, the future being tomorrow, he's still our manager. So, yes, he is technically the manager of the future. Got you.
Well, I know. What I'm saying is I don't think he's
I know what you mean. I'm trying to make a joke, damn it.
Oh.
I feel the virtual slap of you coming across my computer screen.
So obviously you're Pellegrini in and I'm Pellegrini out. Why? Give me one good reason. Give me one good reason you really think that he needs to stay after 1 win.
Because this is his team. He built it. He built it almost from the ground up. He knows how to deal with these players, and he even though it may take a while, he knows how to make them work. And looking ahead of the schedule, after Wolves, after Arsenal, we have Southampton, which should be a very easy game. Then we got Crystal Palace on Boxing Day. Leicester on the 28th, which, by the way, I hate that. I absolutely hate that it's 2 games in 3 days. Who came up with the schedule? Shoot the scheduler, somebody. And then we got Bournemouth in the first game of 2020. On New Year's Day. Great. Just another thing I need to watch on New Year's Day. But I think we need to relax a little bit and realize that there's at least, at a minimum, 2 wins here. Crystal Palace, I think it should be a win, and Southampton is definitely going to be a win. So to me, he knows what the hell he's doing. He's a genius. He's won the league before, even though he had billions of pounds at his expense. I still believe in this guy. I still think that he's the way forward, and I still believe in his 3-year plan. It's better than the Russian 5-year plan.
I like the point that, he knows the guys, it's his team and he built it, but I'm still Pellegrini out because even if he did build it, he clearly doesn't know how to use it. And it's very frustrating for me. So obviously you mentioned it. We have a big game tomorrow. In fact, the next time that you hear from us, we're going to have 2 games under the belt. We have a big game tomorrow against Wolves, and then we play the following Monday. We get no weekend fixture, and we're back again on Monday to take on the North London hipsters, Arsenal. And so kind of when you look at this situation here, let's look at this Wolves game first. I have some disturbing news for you. Since Wolves have been promoted, Zach, West Ham haven't beaten them. And it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating for me because I understand that they're arguably the best ever promoted team. Like, I get that. But I still feel like we have a better side than they do, and I refuse to give them anything. I can't stand them. I feel like, there's just their uniforms make me want to puke on my tits. So really, when you look at this game against Wolves, if we put out the same side, do you think that West Ham are going to find a way to get the win, or do you think there need to be some changes?
I think that, well, assuming Antonio is healthy and he can play, I think that if we come in with the same vim that we did on Saturday, I think we have a legitimate shot to win. I honestly do. But if we don't, and if Antonio is injured and Allaire needs to start, then Allaire needs to focus his game on being a ball hog and being the guy and being a Kobe Bryant. Kobe, I'm open. Kobe steps back, takes a 75-foot 3, and it's a brick. He needs to take those bizarre shots that we look at and go, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? But he needs to start doing that. If he's going to be a lone wolf, he needs to start taking those shots and not looking to pass the ball. Because he's looking to pass the ball or he's looking to dump it off and get ahead and do a give and go. But no one's there to do the give and go, and he's turning the ball over. And it frustrates me. It frustrates you. It frustrates everyone. And he's a club record signing. The fuck it makes it look like we've had 2 back-to-back poor club record signings now.
I'm going to say this about the game. I think some of the team still needs to wake up. I'm curious what's going on with Anderson right now. It seemed when he was subbed off, him and Pellegrini kind of looked like they maybe had words or a disagreement there. Something needs to happen with Anderson. We need to get him going because when Anderson's on, he's arguably one of the top guys in all of the Premier League, and we're going to need him playing his best against Wolves just because it's a side that we, for some goddamn reason, struggle against. I think the team you put out there, if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. You put out the same team if you're able to. Obviously, Antonio injury could change things. But, yeah, if Allaire's going to go in, I think you hit the nail on the head. He's got to play like a selfish striker. And he's got to have high-quality shots, and he's got to start putting some past the net. That's my worry with Allaire. Can he create his own goal and stop relying on the service of others? And I know that matters, but I would love to see him create his own goal. So I think this game is an interesting game for West Ham United because –
Hey, hang on. When was the last time West Ham beat Wolves?
The last time I can remember it, honestly, was Enar Valencia scored in that game, and I think it was Big Sam's last year or his second to last year. He was managing the team. There may have been when Bilic, but I remember I think Valencia had a free kick goal in that game.
Nope. It was 2016. It was So it was the 132nd finals. What is that? I'm not even gonna. I can't do math. So Nikia Jelic scored the only goal in the 85th minute and gets subbed off for Reece Oxford.
Well, looking at that game against Wolves, it's an interesting contest. Now, if West Ham go out there and they get the win, which I think they should, that leads to an interesting game on Monday against Arsenal, because now with a banged up Antonio, maybe the right move is to sit him against Wolves and go with Aller and then try to bring Antonio in for Arsenal, who we know is going to challenge us even more. So looking at this Arsenal game, this is the things that I need to make very clear to everybody listening. Arsenal fired their manager. They currently have a caretaker manager in place right now. Now, they may have a manager by the time they play us, which is possible.
Arsene Wenger, welcome back.
Which is possible. But I fucking hate the Gooners. I cannot stand Arsenal. I know as a West Ham fan, you're supposed to hate Millwall, Tottenham. I get it. But for me personally, fuck Arsenal. I cannot stand them. I don't like anything about them. So it's a massive situation here, I think, for West Ham United, because if you get that win against Wolves, there's blood in the water against Arsenal. They should be able to go win that game. So let's play the optimist before we play the pessimist here. Let's say we beat Wolves. Well, how do you think that Arsenal game goes if we win that game?
Well, if we win that game, we're probably going to see a completely different side, because the side's going to be knackered, because you're playing 2 games and you're playing 3 games in quick succession, and you can't be running 10 kilometers in like 10 kilometer. Well, no, you can't be running 30 kilometers in 10 days ish, 8. I can't do math. I just can't do math. I'm sober and I can't do math. But we're going to see a different side, and we need a next man up. If you're on the bench for Wolves, you need to come in and step up against Arsenal. You need to be ready to go at a moment's notice to take on Arsenal, because Arsenal, in my mind, is going to be the more physical matchup, and it's going to be more of a blood and guts type of matchup, and it's home. So we're going to need the home support to be with us and be yelling and be screaming all the time for us.
I think you got a very strong point there. I don't find much I disagree with, other than the fact that you keep the team the same as much as you possibly can. You don't have an FA Cup match until I think January. I think is the next FA Cup match. It might be in December, but
no, it's January.
Yeah, so you know, 3 games in 10 days. These guys should be able to handle it. They're professionals. We're not in the EFL Cup. A lot of our guys don't go on international duty. Yes, we have some of our more elite players that do, but the majority of them do not. So to me, you keep the team the same as much as humanly possible that you can. And that, you know, I think Antonio is the biggest key reason that we won that game for me personally against Chelski. So I think there's an argument to be made that you go with Aller against Wolves and you bring Antonio back for Arsenal, because I think the Arsenal game has to stick out to you as a bigger game. But the problem with West Ham right now is we've been so poor lately. Almost every game's big for us to reach our aspirations of where this club is supposed to be right now. You know, if Antonio can go both games, you put him in there. You find a way. So as far as changes go, I don't really want to see many. I want this team to stay as close to what we saw against Chelski as possible. That doesn't mean we won't concede goals. I'm just thinking that we definitely are going to make it more difficult to score on us than the Swiss cheese defense we've been putting out there lately. So this is a very unique situation for us. Because we're previewing 2 games, you're going to get not 1, but 2 game predictions coming up here. So right now we're going to head into the first one. Tomorrow we play Wolves. I believe that game is at our house. Is it? It's at home.
It's at Molineux Stadium. What the hell's Molineux, anyways?
It's a dumb name for a stupid dog.
It sound like a French breakfast cereal, like Weetabix. By the way, don't eat it. It's disgusting. Unless you're a 65-year-old man and has trouble pooping, don't eat Weetabix. That's literally the only reason to eat Weetabix. It is just a giant brick of bran flakes. It's like, what the hell are you eating, Grandpa? Weetabix. I need to poop.
Oh man! Only here will you hear about defecation and bowel movements. Just
I'm
gonna,
trying to get you down. I already have
so
Christmas fever hysteria.
so looking at this game, interesting game. Do West Ham do they go out there and defecate on the field and lose this game after eating their high fiber cereal, or do West Ham United find a way to make it two in a row?
I think West Ham finds a way to make it 2 in a row. I, honest to God, do, especially if Antonio can play. I think that we're going to see a rejuvenated West Ham side. I think Martin's going to play out of his mind again, and Martin's going to be like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And he's going to be the talk, I think, of a lot of Premier League talk shows and go, where the hell's this guy been? Honestly, he was signed as a third-string keeper. It's kind of like the Detroit Lions. They're on the third-string quarterback. No one expected him to play this year. Yet here he is playing Thanksgiving football games.
So, what's your goals for the game? What's the final score?
So I think it's going to be 2 on us. I think Noble's going to get a penalty. And hang on. I actually think Yarmer's going to get on the score sheet. I think if Yarmer comes in around the 70th-ish minute mark, I think that he's going to have a legitimate shot to get on the goal sheet.
Man of the match.
Martin. Martin's going to stand on his head, and everyone's going to look at him and go, oh, my God, did he just do that again? And Wolves are going to be like, I don't believe we just been beat by a guy in the second Premier League start.
I'm going to go pessimistic, and I'm going to say West Ham United are still not fixed, and I think Pellegrini needs to prove it to me. So, once again, I'm going Wolves 3, West Ham 0. So I'm going to go with the same score prediction I went with against Chelsea. I'm partially doing that because I hope that the juju stays the same. So don't hate on me too much. We have no goals for me to predict. My man of the match for West Ham United will be I'm going to go with Mark Noble, because I think Noble might punch somebody, and even though he may not get the man of the match in my personal record book, he will be the man of the match. So therefore, I can't lose this prediction. Moving on to the second game against Arsenal. What do you predict to happen there?
I think it's going to be a bloodbath. We're going to see broken ankles. We're going to see the stretcher come out and the ambulance come on the field like if you're playing an old Madden game. It is going to be – ankles are going to be shattered. Cleats will go into boots. Cleats will go into kneecaps. And if they could be playing the game with a lead pipe in their hand, I think it would make things a lot more dangerous. But honestly, I think it's going to – I think it's going to be very, very physical. And it's just going – and Arsenal's just trying to prove to themselves that they are good enough to be where they are and to be in striking distance of the top six. And with whoever their interim manager is, I can't actually hang on. I know who he is. He's a guy who doesn't wear a suit. And I'll talk about that in a bit later. But come on. We need to show Arsenal that they're still in crisis mode. And we need to continue to pump cannonballs into their ship that is sinking.
So what is your score prediction for the match?
1-0.
West Ham, Arsenal?
West Ham, yes.
Okay, 1-0 West Ham. Who is your goal scorer?
I think it's going to be Allaire. Allaire's going to be very frustrated, but he's going to finally find the back of the net off a very bizarre bounce, and he's going to be like, I scored that? No, you scored that. No, I scored that. It's going to be one of those bizarre moments that we're going to look, and it's going to be reviewed upon, and it's going to be announced one person, then it's going to go to Allaire, then it's going to go back, and then it's going to go back to Allaire, and Allaire's going to be like, did I score or not? No one's going to know when they're in the mixed media zone.
So looking at that, who is your man of the match against Arsenal?
Martin. Martin for everything. Martin for all the things, damn it. Martin for Prime Minister. I don't care.
All right, so now it is my turn to predict this game. I fucking hate Arsenal, so I'm going West Ham 3, Arsenal 0. I fucking can't stand them. I will never, ever pick them. I know that I'm breaking my juju right now, but I just can't do it. I'm giving 3 goals to the good guys, none for the bad guys, and they can go sit there and listen to some artists and tell everybody that they're great when nobody fucking knows about them. So you know what? The Foo Fighters are great. I don't give a shit if you think, oh, because they're popular, I don't like them. Goddamn hipsters, even though I'm wearing a beanie and I kind of look like one right now.
And you're in California, dude. Come on.
So I'm just going to tell you right now, 3 goals. These are the 3 people I see getting on the score sheet. Sebastian Aller gets one. Mikel Antonio gets one. And I'm telling you right now, I love this guy. Mikel Antonio is going to get on the board again. I love him. I think he's going to have 2 against Arsenal because he's a fucking baller. And then my man of the match in that game is going to be Mikel Antonio. You get 2 goals, you're going to be the guy. So that's kind of what I'm thinking there. That brings us to the end of the show. We have our yellow and red card. This is always my favorite moment of the show. This is definitely Zach's most hated moment of the show because he knows I like it and doesn't like me very much. But nonetheless, Zach, who is your yellow card for?
Okay, well, first off, before we get into that, I have a green card to give out. Not like an immigration green card, a green card of respect to the Crystal Palace fans who made a T-through and said, "Kickoff sold to the highest bidder. Amazon profits and fans suffer." They did that today and during their game and before their game, and I, for one, stand up to them and say, "God damn it, yes, respect." But my yellow card goes to Freddie Lugenberg. He asked Paul Scholes why he wasn't wearing a suit on the sidelines against Norwich. And what did he say? The suit was at the dry cleaners. Okay, my cousin Vinny. What the hell? You're allowed to wear a tracksuit on the sidelines. I mean, people do it all the time. It's legal. I mean, Marco Bielsa, just give him a cooler to sit on in front of, and he's happy. This is something that we're gone past the days of everyone must wear a suit. This is not 1990. This is not 1962. People can wear tracksuits on the sidelines and be fine. People can wear polo and a baseball cap and be fine. People could, hell, if they wanted to, they could look like a stripper and no one would. Well, people would look at them funny, but they wouldn't care. Come on, this is the 21st century. Anyway, sorry.
My yellow card goes to you and every other Martin is the greatest goalkeeper of all time. People, calm the fuck down. Yes, he had a great game. It's one fucking game. Do I want him to play well? Hell yeah. He's wearing a claret and blue. I love Martin. But just so you know, like Martin for prime minister, cut that shit out. Like he is not there yet. He's got to prove it. Guys, flash in the pans happen all the time. We see it in every sport. We have one guy that rises to the occasion and then nobody ever hears him again. Don't be a flash in the pan. Be a nail that keeps the team together. That's what I want to see him be. David Martin, I love what you did for West Ham. You beat the Chelsea Blues at their house. It was awesome. But I got to see consistency. I just think every West Ham fan that's like, we've got a chance because Martin's in goal, take a step back here. I'm a firm believer that he's a solid keeper and he's been in Roberto, but he's no Fabianski. And if we want to go where we want to be, Faba has to be back. All right. Who is your red card for? So
this is a funny story. So on Wednesday when I was down in Miami, we went thrifting, and after we went thrifting, we went to a UPS store to ship everything back when I just got it all back. So yay. But right next to it was a Hispanic deli. So we walk in for lunch, and the menu's half in English, half in Spanish. So we think, oh, somebody speaks English here that can take our order. Great. So we go to the cashier and we try to order. The cashier doesn't speak a word of English. Nobody there does. They all speak Spanish. And when you have half a menu in English and in Spanish, you would expect at least one person there to know enough English to be able to take a goddamn order. Honestly, what the fuck? Thank God for Google Translate, because that actually helped my ass. Because I don't speak a word of Spanish. Dos cerveza. That's
I just want to say this. If I didn't already have decided my red card, I would 100% give it to you right now for that comment, just because when you walk into a place and they don't speak the language, you know that food is fucking good and you figure out any way to order it and you compliment them on what they do because they're putting their effort in the food, not their customer service, and that's massive.
When they have things in English, when they have half the menu in English, and it's the top half, not the bottom half, the top half, you'd expect something to be in English. Well, someone to speak English. Anyways.
My red card goes to myself for predicting a 3-0 drubbing from Chelski against us. I'm going to red card myself every time I'm wrong on the 3-0 predictions, because if we keep winning, then I'm doing the same shit. I'm keeping good juju. I want West Ham United to continue to rise. So again, I'm giving myself the red card and I'm sitting it out. I'm getting sent home. My manager's mad at me. My mom won't talk to me. My stepdad just looks at me like, I don't know what you want me to say. It's kind of one of those situations. My dad's calling me on the phone. I'm not picking up because I don't want to be a disappointment. I am taking that red card happily. I want West Ham United to continue this run of form, even though it's one game. Let's keep it going. Let's make it 4, 5, 6 games of good form. And that brings us to the end of our show. It is time for shameless plugs. Zach, hit them.
Well, first off, we have merch. We have shirts. We have hats. We have blankets. We have stickers. Buy our merch. Go to the American Hammers Twitter page, Facebook page, Instagram page. Go to the website. We have merch. Buy our stuff. Tell your friends about it. Tell your mom about it. Tell your grandma about it. Tell your stepsister about it. Tell everybody. Tell everybody about us. Anyways, what? Podcast. And that was my mother. Great. But I finally have a West Ham shirt to sell. I finally found a West Ham shirt. And that is now up for sale. Unfortunately, it's a Youth XL, so I don't fit into it. You don't fit into it. I know that. But buy our shirts. But go to Zach's Trunk Show and buy my stuff. It's Christmas. Christmas is almost here. I got a bunch of stuff to sell. Football, basketball, hockey, soccer, cricket, rugby, whatever you're looking for, I have. If I don't have it, message me. I can find it for you.
And the only shameless plug I have, if you're in California tomorrow and you want to come watch the game in the Central Valley, we will be at Pine and Palm Brewing, not our home Full Circle Brewing, because they're not open during those hours that early. But if you would love to come and watch the Mighty Hammers with the Fresno Irons, the most dedicated group in all of Fresno, please make it down. And just for Zach, this is Tex. Thank you to Tim and Lee for providing the opportunity on this platform to talk all things West Ham United. As always, come on, you Irons.